Let me.
So welcome those of you that are signing up. We're just waiting for everyone to get here. Chatting with our presenter this morning, Kathleen Weber. Kathleen, how you doing this morning?
Great, thank you, Kevin. Happy to be here. Looking forward to this.
In Technology's Perfect Climate, San Diego. We're going to wait. We're probably going to go sometime between 10:03 and 10:05. We don't want to penalize those of you that are logging in when you're supposed to, but we do want to wait to make sure we get a critical mass of folks here. This has certainly been a topic that has permeated throughout most of our roundtables. Finance roundtable, CEO roundtable, and of course our senior ops roundtable, which is our senior manufacturing roundtable. This is one of the primary things they've been talking about is supply chain problems. We were reminiscing, Kathleen, and I'm sure you can remember all the just-in-time seminars we were putting on and reducing your inventory and finding cheaper suppliers. And geez, we almost look back on that nostalgically.
There are a lot of things that we're feeling nostalgic about. So yes, I agree. And we are in certainly a new era.
Just in time, don't over order, don't order too much. Lower your inventory cost.
Man. So I'm looking, Sarah, I wanted to see, I only see who staff, which would be Kevin, I, and you. Can we see who else has joined?
If you tap on attendees on your dashboard, you should be able to see it. If not, we've got about 8 people on right now.
And did Tiffany come on as our CMTC friend?
Tiffany is logging in as we speak. Just send a webcam request. And she's just connecting her audio. She is self-muted. All right, I'm going.
Since I can't see anybody but us. So Michelle, are you on the call? Can we open it up so?
Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
So Michelle is not.
So Kathleen, the attendees, you will not be able to see them. They could only hear us.
Wow, that's not as much fun, I have to tell you.
Well, we have a question box, and we're going to be monitoring. Tiffany and I are going to be monitoring those questions, and as we see them, we will bring them up.
Okay, well, fair enough. So
it gets really, when you have more than 5 or 6 people, it really, our experience with the webinars is it really diminishes the experience if you have a lot of people and a lot of audio on at the same time. People forget their audios and they come in and out of video, and it gets very distracting. So we've learned that anything over around 6 or so, we have them where they can hear us and see us, and they interact with us through the question box rather than popping up.
Okay. Well, one of the things is that
we could see you, of course.
Yes, well, aren't we all lucky about that? So, but I think more importantly, if the information starts to get, boring, heavy, having a conversation might be warranted. So please, please interrupt, please ask the question, and because I'm going to share data and ways to actually source, but oftentimes there's information that people would want specifically, and I want to make sure that we address some of that.
And the attendees certainly will have a way to do that through the question chat box. And again, Tiffany and I are going to be monitoring that pretty closely. And then we, both Tiffany and I, we also have our discretion. If we think that something warrants a little bit more, we can certainly interrupt if need be.
That sounds great. Okay, good. So it looks like
we'll get going. We're going to wait about 2 minutes, so we'll get going in a second. Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
Good morning.
Nice to see our sponsor here from CMTC. How are things at CMTC?
Busy as ever.
I imagine you guys are very busy with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Tiffany and I just sat in on our senior manufacturing folks just got together last week, and I was telling Kathleen that there was a lot of talk about supply chain issues. And really,
Yeah.
you know, one of the reasons I'm glad to have this event is no one had any solutions. I mean, Tiffany, unless you heard something, I mean, they really had no solution sets to look at rather than complain and moan and groan about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with whether or not we can get some of these boats to make it to the port in Long Beach and unload, right?
And people are prognosticating on that, right? So, you know, 3 months ago, I was told that they're all going to head in, everything's fine. And then just last week, there was a record 40 boats. So this idea that it's getting better isn't the case. I also spoke to someone who monitors very closely customs activities and trying to get a sense of why things are being held up at customs above and beyond, you know, things, you know, held in at boats at anchor outside of Long Beach, but just, you know, I don't know if customs shorthanded or what's going on. So we're also making some inquiries into that as well.
Okay, I think we should start.
All right, let's go ahead and get going. Again, if you logged on a couple minutes early and you kind of heard us talking, we are gonna do this event, and then you have your opportunity to ask questions. My name's Kevin Carroll. I'm Executive Director of Tech San Diego. This is a part of a continuing series, the oldest series we have at Tech San Diego from day one. In fact, migrated over from some different associations. So this has actually been going on for almost 20 years, this series, and this is the Manufacturing Roundtable series. Our exclusive sponsor for most of the time of that has been our friends at CMTC. I'm going to introduce Tiffany in just a second to make a welcome from CMTC, and then of course Kathleen Weber is our presenter. Before I turn it over to Tiffany, again, I've really been looking forward to this because I've constantly have sat in on these roundtables that we have. People are talking about these issues, but they're really not talking about solution sets. This may not give you all the answers, but it's at least a little sliver of something that you could probably go back and use immediately. So I'm really excited to do this, but before we do that, let me introduce Tiffany Garcia from CMTC. Tiffany, how you doing?
Good morning. So Tiffany Garcia with CMTC. I'm a client advisor in the San Diego and Imperial Valley region alongside my colleague Amanda Cheney, who I think is on this call. For those of you that are new to CMTC, we are the NIST manufacturing extension partner for the entire state of California. We're a nonprofit focused on providing solutions that increase the productivity and competitiveness of California's manufacturing sector. So we receive both federal and state funding in order to support this effort. And the way that we do that is actually through utilization of consultants who are experts in their field. So we find people who are much smarter than us to help you out. So one of the resources that we work with quite closely here in the San Diego County, but across the state is Kathleen Weber. She has a team of consultants with Weber Growth Resources who are supporting many of our local SMMs with various services such as SEO, digital marketing, analytics. Kathleen will get into that, which are usually topics that our manufacturers talk about needing, but they don't necessarily understand them. So I'm super happy that she has some time today to talk to us about one of those areas of support that we can help out.
Thanks, Tiffany. So hi, I'm Kathleen Weber. Many of you know me because I was with CMTC and made a transition to be an independent consultant working in the digital marketing space. I represent ThomasNet and work with clients here in San Diego and California, frankly, actually in the US. So today, I want to share with you the Thomas platform and the breadth of services that you can derive from that platform and some of the data that they've driven because of their ability to secure this this information. I'm going to take myself off of video before I start making myself look crazy. And so I look forward to your questions, and again, give me feedback in that to see if if I'm speaking to the choir or these are actually valuable insights. So stop sharing my webcam. So let's start with, this is the ThomasNet Q2 Industrial Sourcing and Supply Activity presentation. And the reason that I wanted to share this is because Thomas actually has about 1.4 million unique searches on the platform every month. So they're able to drive data based on the activity on the platform. And so let's take a look at what we can see from their data. So they've got new, relatively new people driving the ship that have been really successful in driving data. So Thomas does serve the industrial marketplace, and I'm not going to go through the sales pitch, but those of you likely know who Thomas is, but in case you don't, it's thomasnet.com, and it is the industrial buyer supplier platform. So one of the things that's interesting for those who aren't familiar with Thomas or don't remember this, the majority of people using the platform are not what you might think. They are actually people, as you can see here, under 44 years old. So it is the methodology that people are using to source products. And I think we forget, those of us who have aged, that this is, digital marketing is the way forward for the manufacturing sector. So let me just skip more of the sales information. Here we get to the reshoring. So as we know, things have changed a lot. Kevin pointed that out. Everybody's talking about reshoring. So it is, and unfortunately, not everybody, if you have a component that's from Asia, it is a nightmare. Those people who are looking for components that they can't source, it's a nightmare. Can I fix that for you? No. But can we talk about the other things that are happening here in the US? So one of the things to look at that you probably all know is what's being most sourced. So those of you who are in any of these industries that use lumber, that use printed circuit boards, that are looking for new machinery, are in the pharmaceuticals, any of those are the most sourced. That means that they're the hardest to find. So we've got some percentages here. Up is printed circuit boards, huge, up 140%. Interestingly, CMTC was involved in this, flexible printed circuit boards. They're up 1,600% month over month. I mean, amazing. So some interesting data here. I'm not sure any of you in the food industry, so I think I may skip that. So then we're looking at services that are being sourced. So we're looking at injection molding, metal fab, engineering services, sewing contractors, obviously. And so these are all areas that people are searching because now it's become a terror to find.
Kathleen, Kathleen Haystaff, maybe you mentioned a couple of those top sectors for those of us that are not on video. There's some people probably on the phone. So for the most sourced services.
Right. So machining, obviously, that's being highly sourced. And so you can see it's for Thomas, they have different categories. There's machining and CNC machining, essentially the same people. Steel fab, metal fab, and warehouse and distribution services, product development. So those are some of the things. I don't know that we have, I know in San Diego we have people who do tube bending, but I don't know that they're on the call. So, and contract manufacturing for, in this case, nutraceuticals, but it's also high for contract manufacturing. There it is as well. The we don't need to look at contractors. Machining, we're looking at all different types of machining that the sourcing has increased. So here is product and services just in a different way. The increase for second quarter. And so I'm looking to see if there's anybody in particular in our group that microscopes, that's interesting. I know we've got people who make microscopes here in town. So let's look at regions. That's Texas. Do we care about Texas? Let's get into California. Here we go. So sourcing in California, medical equipment, obviously. CNC, huge. Furniture. So if anybody's trying to find furniture these days, you know that it's got a huge long lead time. Let's skip. So this is some of their predictions. So anybody who can source locally, and by the way, there are companies here, in case you don't know that, here in San Diego that actually do printed circuit boards, bare printed circuit boards.
Kathleen, who do you know off the top of your head? Anybody that you've worked with in the past?
Yes, so Machas in Poway, they're here. There was a company in Vista that I can't remember. So, okay. So Machas is here in town. And so obviously in our sector, it's about aerospace. And so lots of searching for new suppliers in the aerospace for machining. So engineering services, that's really telling. So as opposed to going overseas, looking for local sources for engineering services and food contract manufacturing. And manufacturing, go ahead.
And just from CMTC standpoint, we have onboarded a number of engineering resources. Obviously in San Diego, there's a lot of innovation taking place here. So trying to get, a person's idea developed actually to, a product so they can pitch and, generate some capital, or if it's re-engineering. So if anybody has any engineering needs and just needs some referrals for local engineering services, please let me know.
Yes, and I just got a new one that I found people who came from D&K who started their own engineering firm. So those of you who can't fit into a D&K engineering framework, that there are other people who are available. Thank you, Tiffany, that was great. Food service, those of you, I don't know if we've got anybody on here who's food service, but that's way up. Okay, well, do we need to talk about shipping services? Kevin, I think, identified that. Food contract manufacturing, building products. This isn't the time to spend a lot of money on wood, and 3D printers. So that's actually a whole nother subject. And I think, Tiffany, if we talk about our 3D printing, women in 3D printing organization, if you need any 3D printing here locally, there are great resources here in town. So anything from metal 3D printing to all the other resources for 3D printing, we are flush with them. So this is another marketing for Thomas. We're good with that. So let me open the next one. What we're going to talk about next is how to leverage the platform, which is probably why you're here in the first place. How do you find new resources? And the Thomas platform is one of them. And so what's interesting about the Thomas platform is that it has ways to actually help you manage your searches. So that's really the key here. How do you compare? How do you search? And that's really important. So this is that for you. So what this does is that it can help you by sharing with you based on keywords that Thomas uses. And those of you who don't know, Thomas has been around for over 120 years. They used to be in the big green books, and they have been the Bible for sourcing industrial products forever. And so their depth of data is extraordinary. So one of the things that we want to do is take a look at how you can best search, evaluate, and connect with those resources. So step one, search. One of the things that Thomas does is that it allows you to search, but it's better if you've actually created a login for searching on the platform. And the reason is because Thomas collects your data, and it can help then drive the data that we've been looking at. So it'll drive your name, your company, the industry that you're in. And so that is a way to get more data out of the Thomas platform. So those of you who don't know already, you can also list your company at no charge on the Thomas platform. So if you aren't already on the platform, you should be at a minimum for free. So make sure you do that. So this is just showing what happens when you search. So those of you who don't know, this is one of the ways to search. So I'm going to skip to the next one. So in this case, you can see that in the search bar, you can put in what's here, fasteners. So if you type in fasteners, it'll pull up the entire number of people on the platform for ThomasNet who have fasteners. So one of the things that's great about this is that's a look over the whole US. But if you want to then get more specific, because if you're going to do metal work, you want to have something local because you don't want to pay for the shipping. There's an area here under regions that you can then sort by Southern California and target the people that you would like to use here. But if you'd like to, look at the, entire US, that's the initial one. The other ways to sort are to look at how they're verified. So when you invest in ThomasNet from a digital marketing standpoint, it's essentially a, so just full disclosure, it's like Google. It's a pay to play and it's a pay to rank. So in this case, these companies have spent the revenue to rank when you open up nationally. So these are the top 2 people. So It gives you information about the company, and then you can start searching within specific companies. But you can also then search by region, by keywords. Then we have the origin. So if you want to buy through the Buy America Act, buy in the US, those companies that have submitted and been approved under those categories on Thomas will show up by sorting. You can see there's other various ways to sort by location, by verification from Thomas. We have not only verified, registered, as well as COVID response.
Kathleen, for the COVID response, is there any like deals that the manufacturers get if they're part of that, or is it just a different opportunity to source like first
So what
responders?
happens on Thomas, and frankly, I think it's been a bit diluted because it was very valuable initially during the onset of COVID, but most companies are now open. So it was really at the point to recognize an organization that stayed open and was available for sourcing. So at this point, there isn't anything from my perspective that makes that particularly valuable. What is valuable is that the other certifications, Thomas makes sure that those companies actually sell what they say they sell. So based on their website. So it's not a, if you sign up for the program, you can't say you do something that's not on your website. So because Thomas doesn't like that, and neither does Google if you say you have something and you don't really on your website.
But Kathleen, there's not a charge to just to access ThomasNet, right? You talked about people paying to rank. A, you don't have to charge to access it, and B, you could put your information in there. It just won't be the top of the list, correct?
So here's what happens specifically. You can, when you put your company name in for free, Thomas chooses from your website how it will show you on the platform. So, so yes, you can do it for free. You will likely, so if you're under Bolt, you would end up, because there's probably 1,600 people who supply Bolt, you'd be 1,601, but you're on the platform. And what that does is it gives you a backlink. Google loves Thomas because it has so much data on the platform. So even at free, it's better than nothing. So I highly recommend, if you aren't on the platform, you should at minimum be on the platform. Tell your web person, make sure you have a backlink, and that will help boost your search engine optimization.
Kathleen, what about companies with special designations that are like women-owned, veteran-owned, or minority-owned?
So that's where we're getting here. So this one talks about certifications. Obviously, the most important these days are ISO, ITAR. And so this is the area where people can search specifically by that. And then there's also, and I don't think it shows here, but there's, so it has a whole section on how to search by minority owned. So this one's now just going through certifications. And then let's see if we can, so let me skip that, it's kind of bugging me. So let's go back. It does have, in these sections, there's section for not only location, but minority owned, and women owned. And if you have the actual certifications, you can choose those, and then people will be able to sort that way. It's been very effective for those who are woman owned, minority owned, etc., particularly in our region, because many organizations need to source that way. So That's a highly recommended. Now for free, you can't do that. So I apologize, but the free is just what Thomas lets you put on. Still a good idea though. Okay, so supplier diversity, there we go. Okay, evaluate. So how do you take the data that you're finding on Thomas and make it easy to use and valuable for your searching? So here you can see that we see the diversity, the quality certifications, etc. So that's the way that you can source. And so we've got from the company website and reported by a third-party organization. So those are all the types of diversity options that you have here.
Can you pull, Kathleen, can you take this information and download it onto like an Excel spreadsheet? So
that's exactly where we're headed.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Love that you asked. So, so let's look at, we know that digital marketing, this is basically saying digital marketing has increased over the last 10 years. Since COVID, it's, had the same expansion, 1 year over 10 years. It's huge. So if you're not paying attention to your digital framework, talk to me. We'll look at that. Video is what they're talking about here, which is super important because people retain information about your company. 95% is retained versus reading text. So it is a powerful tool. So those who haven't started considering using video in their marketing, it's a good idea. Okay, so now we're talking about how you source. So on the platform, you can click when you get to a category and you want to take a look at, the top 5 people or whichever ones you choose. You pick select, right? And then go down, pick compare, and voila. So you get then the spreadsheet. Now, the good news is you can save it on the Thomas platform as your favorites. You can print it. So you can put it on a short list, which we'll see in a second. But this gives you short data about the companies. And this one's talking about saving to your short list. So you can then create a way to save it. And then you have your short list so that you then have a resource when you log into Thomas on your dashboard, the companies that you would like to continue to keep, maybe not buy from right away, but at least these are the ones that you're interested in. And it's a great way to save that data. You can export it, which is one of my favorite things to do. Nothing like a spreadsheet. On the platform, you can also directly request quotes. So that's a no-brainer. You can also, we've got all sorts of different ways to find data. So some of the companies actually have CAD drawings on their profile. So you can actually get, let me go back, you can actually get specifics on parts. So that can be driven just from the platform. So if that's something that you can use, this is great, particularly for engineers. So they've got custom quotes. So for example, if you would like to get a custom quote, Thomas will take, this goes directly to Thomas. They'll take what you want, what your need is, and then help you source. Now, that isn't used enough. So that's a opportunity for you to have Thomas do the work for you. Now, I'll also help you do it, but this is a great way for Thomas to be able to do that for you. So great opportunity. So Thomas has company profiles, we've got data, we've got the way to do advanced searches, supplier comparison.
Kathleen, we have a question.
I'm ready.
Does Thomas offer a video production program to help with recording the videos for marketing?
Yes, as a matter of fact. So while we're here, let me show you. Let's just go to the Thomas platform. You good with that, folks?
Sounds good to me.
See how many things I have open, shall we? Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Oh, I don't want to get it through here. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's take a look at Machine Tech right here in town. Machine Tech. I'm assuming you can see this, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see.
Good. So Machine Tech in town is has invested in ThomasNet, and they do honeycomb products. And so we've created a video for them, factory tour. We have a company that comes in with a drone, and we create videos that are factory tours as well as company overviews. So an overview would take still images with text. Now we also do videos that include interviews, and so that's an option as well. So they're beautifully done, and they can be used not only on the Thomas platform, but the client can use them on their website, on their marketing, and the difference between the video and reading text can be astonishing. That 98% of companies who actually leverage a video has that much higher retention. So this is a great example. Tiffany, do you think this is enough?
Yeah, and maybe I can jump in and just share with those that are on this webinar. So Machine Tech is a client of CMTC, and they were eligible for one of our programs, a CMA Plus, which stands for California Manufacturing Accelerator. And it's a set of state funding that we've received to support manufacturers. So it's no cost consulting. 24 hours worth of it is what Machine Tech received, and they decided to work with Kathleen and work with her through the ThomasNet platform. So we were super excited to be able to help out Machine Tech. So in essence, Machine Tech didn't actually have to pay for anything through this program, and Kathleen and her team took great care of them. So they're super happy. But this program is still available. So if you are not linked up with CMTC, or if you are, make sure to reach out to your client advisor to see if you would be eligible. If this is something that interests you, I can connect you with Kathleen and get the funding started.
Great, thanks, Tiffany. Okay, so let's just take a cruise through the platform while we're here. And so does anybody want to throw something out to the chat to see if we can find something for them? Otherwise, let's take a look at, let's look at printed circuit boards. And if somebody comes up with something else, let me know. And you can see as I do this, we've got choices here. So again, as we go through this, we see that we've got printed circuit boards. This is for the entire US. So for us here, we're going to want to go into regions and choose Southern California. Now we can also choose to do a zip code. So if I want to search zip code close to me, then we've got just within 50 miles. We can change this if we want to have it even closer. So we can see who shows up. So here we go. Justin Carlsbad, Electric Surface Technologies for printed circuit boards. CComp, CMS Circuits. I was just talking to her. So, Select PCB does assembly. Hughes Circuits, that's the one that I was thinking about, Hughes Circuits. So those are the options that we just have within 50 miles. So if we wanted to look at Southern California, search again.
So we have another question.
We've broadened that.
We have another question that's come in. Does Thomas offer a secure network to send a technical data package for quoting? Many companies would want to make sure that their TDPs are only accessible by the vendors doing the quotes.
So I would not send anything through Thomas that was considered under the CMMI or CMMC, any of the cybersecurity issues. I would make sure that it went directly to the company. I would contact them directly and make sure that they had a secure link. So Thomas does not certify that it's a secure link. It's a great question, but yes, I would do that directly. Anything else, Sarah?
That was the last question.
Okay, so nobody else has something we want to look for? Okay, I'm surprised. And so let me just, so what we can do here is, so let's say we want to take a look at, we like this one, this one, this one, Giltronics, yep. Okay, so we want to go down here, compare. Now we've got the opportunity to take a look at, you know, their certifications, what size company they are, where they're located. And so this gives us that opportunity. So you can send, so this is great. You can send a request for information, request for quote, all of them at the same time.
Amanda asks if you can look up plastic injection molding.
Absolutely. So just for those who are interested, there's a shortcut. So if you want somebody to reach out to you about a particular product, put in your information and it'll go out to all of these companies that will reach back out to you. Plastic injection, molded plastic. Here we go. Now we're still looking at Southern California. So just to give you an idea, this shows you how many people are on the platform, 187 in Southern California that are injection molded plastic fabrication suppliers. So you have a huge resource for data to find who's here in the region. So this is just Southern California. So the Rodon Group, Darter Plastics. Now, the nice thing about this, you can start looking at the materials they use, right? This person has the company overview. They've got about, and they've got another one to celebrate. These people are probably doing a really good job with their marketing because they've leveraged 2 videos and a catalog. So you can go in here and see exactly the types of products that they do. So if we want to do something that's in molded purchase, what kind of materials they use, what tolerances, all of this data is available to you so that you see what they can do without reaching out to them yet. So it's a great tool. Amanda, is there
Kathleen,
something?
I feel like this is a huge, the platform provides so much information that if you were a salesperson, you kind of would not need to really look anywhere else, because there's just so much information on the platform that I'm finding that you're probably even going to get more than if you were to just simply Google a company.
You get a lot more information. So, yeah. And it parses it, thank you, it parses it for you so that in the comparison search that you're getting a snapshot of what they do as opposed to trying to call them and get somebody on the phone who is going to tell you what they do or what kind of equipment they have. So once, you know, so it's a faster way to source. And so this is a great resource. It's not exclusive because, as you know, if you're not on the platform, nobody's going to find you. So what do people do? They Google, right? So there's a combination of how you should represent your company on our digital platforms. So Google is super important because if you don't feed Google what it wants, it can't find you. So I think that's a really key issue. One of the things that Thomas can supply for you, and many of you have seen this, and I'm going to just open this up for you, is our digital health check to take a look at your company and how your website stacks up against others. So here's a company out of Texas, and so we can take your website and have you see what how your website is performing, what kind of areas does Google want to see, and if you don't have that, it's in red, so you can see the areas that Google wants you to be more efficient in. And so these are the sort of areas. So if you don't have a blog, Google prefers you have one. Accelerated mobile pages, links to text. Here's a good example. Making sure that all your links work. Is there text for your links? So there's lots of data for you to consider. And this is a great tool. I'm happy to do it for free. It just gives you the opportunity to share that data with your person who manages your website, so it can keep them on their toes, and then gives you an opportunity to take a look at what areas do you need to improve for your website to feed the Google beast. So we can also take a look at another area that's super valuable for your company. And
Kathleen, is there analytics available for people so that they can understand who is searching, how many video views, catalog downloads, etc.?
beautiful question. So the Thomas platform has an analytics tool called WebTracks. So let me give you this one. This is a fun one because Dolce Foglia, another client of CMTC, does flavoring for CBD products. And by the way, the Thomas platform is getting more filled with CBD opportunities by the moment. Great thing. So what can we see with the ThomasNet WebTracks analytics? So this gives us, originally when we opened the page, a monthly view of the companies that we can identify based on either the data that the person has supplied by being a registered user of the Thomas platform. We never give out email addresses on the Thomas platform because that's illegal. You always have to opt in for any organization to secure someone's email address. But what we can do is tell you what organizations have been searching for your services on the platform. Now, one of the things that Tiffany identified, if you're a salesperson, you want to use Thomas to find people you want to sell to. So that's another way that the platform is used. So please use it that way, but know that when you're identifying people for who are going to use your product, you want to recognize that the Bank of Montreal isn't going to buy your services. They want you to buy theirs. So, but this company does flavoring for CBD. This company here, BF Summa Pharmaceuticals, well, they're going to be somebody you probably want to look at. And you can tell what they've searched for. So you can see they've had 8 pages. They stayed on the profile for 2 minutes and 40 seconds. By the way, that's huge. So anything above a minute and a half, huge. So they looked at 8 pages. You can see the exact pages they looked at. It gives you a link back to your own site. It tells you when they looked. And my favorite sourcing tool is then to take this, go to Google, find them on LinkedIn, and the magic of LinkedIn, everyone, is finding the people. So then you take this and you look for who at this organization should you reach out to who's looking for flavoring for CBD, right, for your product. So it's a great tool to be able to find opportunities. I call them warm opportunities. So this platform, this WebTrack Analytics, gives you that opportunity to reach out to people who've been searching for you. So it also brings in data not only from Thomas, but it brings it from Bing, Google, anybody who's gone directly to your site. This one was a direct to site. So it tells you that discrete data. So, and again, this can be exported to a spreadsheet. So another great tool, there's all sorts of ways to slice and dice, do target industries. And the other thing I really like about this is that you can do it by day. So your sales team would be smart to have your analytics open 24 hours a day so that they can see who's already looked at your profile from all these sources just today. So a great tool to be able to reach out to people very quickly.
Can you talk about the loading speed of pages and clicks to conversion, inquiries, and purchases?
So yes, so the loading speed on a website, as you all know, because nobody likes to watch a website not load, it is so painful. So how do you fix that? Well, you need help. So you need to actually be able to increase the speed of your website, and that takes an expert. And by the way, that's not me, but I have people on my team that actually do that, so that because videos can drag them down, different content can drive it down. So how do you fine tune it to make sure that you are loading quickly? So that's super important.
And
Thanks.
Kathleen, we have about 5 minutes left. Do you want to just touch on some of the other opportunities with Weber Growth Resources? And then if we have any additional questions, we'll take them at that time.
Great. So let me get out of here. So what I do is I leverage the resources that CMTC has for grant funding, which is something most of you hopefully already know about. Additionally, I also work with a team of people who work with search engine optimization, pay-per-click, website development, and branding and marketing. One of the things I think organizations find very difficult is the digital marketing space is hard to imagine, hard to see, and the amount of money that you spend on it is basically sort of in the ether. When we did trade shows, we were, feet on the ground, and, we saw people, we got their business card. When we're in the digital world, it feels very surreal to most companies, but without a significant roadmap to make sure that your digital marketing strategy is in place is really crucial, because people can tend to overspend on their digital marketing because they're not really clear about what should be done, and you can just start throwing money at it. That's not useful. So having a team of people who can take a look at your full breadth of digital marketing, and instead of essentially having a marketing person on staff, because typically a marketing person on staff, you end up giving them other tasks and they're not managing your digital marketing framework. So it's really important to have your website visible by Google. It can help to have you on the Thomas platform, but you need to make sure that you have the right components for each of those. So the Weber Growth Resource team makes sure that you have that roadmap, manages that roadmap, and makes it so that you see where your money's going and how effective it's being used, and making sure that you're using your analytics, and making sure that we stay connected in that way so you can see how it's performing for you. So it's what I consider a more cost-effective methodology than perhaps what you're currently using. So any other questions?
No questions on this end.
Great.
I know that there's a number of clients and companies and resources, vendors on this call. So we'll make sure that Sarah sends out a list of everybody who participated. So if there's any follow-up or direct messages, feel free to reach out to everybody individually. I will send out a follow-up email to everyone in case there's anybody who has any questions about CMTC or how we can help fund some of this marketing activity for you, either through ThomasNet or with Kathleen's team. And if there's no other questions, I think we can go. Thank you everyone for participating. Kathleen, thank you for taking the time to share this information with us. It's a ton of great information that can be used across sectors, but we're happy that we have this for manufacturing, that's for sure.
And by the way, I'm happy to do it for you on an individual basis, and the fees don't start until there's a roadmap in place. So happy to help.
That's great. Thank you so much to Kathleen Weber and Weber Growth Resources for joining us for the Manufacturing and Operations Roundtable today. Tiffany Garcia from CMTC, thank you very much for joining us and helping facilitate discussion. And this has been a Manufacturing and Operations Roundtable presented by Tech San Diego. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me and I will connect you with the people that you need to be connected with, or Tiffany and Kathleen can also help you. And that'll be it. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending.